Hey there! Welcome to SkyGems Academy podcast. At SkyGems Academy, our vision is to build a community of new generation leaders with strong core values, high level of self-awareness, high self-worth, and passionate individuals who will give back to the community and the environment. We are focused on delivering high-quality blended online learning of 21st century life skills delivered and taught online, practiced and perfected offline. Our philosophy is to inspire, educate, and nurture. We work towards inspiring and igniting sparks. We listen, we coach, we fine-tune and accelerate the mastery of 21st century life skills for various age groups. Our blended learning programs are curated from the early years to above 60 years old, as we believe in providing high-quality, lifelong learning for everyone. SkyGems Academy Podcast Series 1: How COVID-19 Transformed the Education Industry. We will take you inside the minds and behind the scenes of 40 exclusive leaders and educators in the education industry. We've interviewed 40 exclusive educators and leaders in the education industry worldwide, starting with China, where the pandemic initially started. You will hear from the leaders in the education industry sharing candidly their views on the possible changes that will take place in the education industry post-COVID-19. Be sure to tune in to SkyGems Academy Podcast Series 1 to listen and learn from the amazing stories, experiences shared, challenges faced, and techniques used by educators in different cities and countries to adapt and overcome their challenges personally as well as professionally in their respective roles in the education industry during the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, let's dive into SkyGems Academy Podcast Series 1. Introducing to you our host, Alyssa.
Hey guys, it's Alyssa. Hope everyone is keeping well. SkyGems Academy Podcast is a passion project that my team and I kicked off in early 2020. As we are all facing the unprecedented events and experiences impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic, we find that there is an urgent need to unite the global community of educators and leaders to progress forward together. Our main objective is to create a platform for all global leaders and global communities to come together to document these historic moments for our future generations. SkyGems Academy Podcast is a platform for everyone from all around the world to share, listen, learn, communicate, collaborate, and come together to network and help one another to pull through this very challenging period that has impacted the global community. In each episode of SkyGems Academy Podcast Series 1, How COVID-19 Transformed the Education Industry, you will find yourself immersed and engaged in in-depth discussions and thought leadership in various aspects of education, technology, humanity, diversity, disparity, and collaborations in the education space. We are very grateful and sincerely appreciate each and every one of you who has motivated us, encouraged us, contributed in your own very special ways, especially our 40 exclusive guest speakers from all around the world. A big thank you to all and a big shout out to all of you. SkyGems Academy Podcast 24th speaker is Tatiana Mayor. Tatiana is fondly known as Tati. Tati is the founder of Urban Camp, an education startup in Brazil. Overseeing all aspects of the business, Tati has focused heavily on the direct relationship and engagement with parents that has created a virtuous cycle fostering the continuous process of evolution of the circular. Intensively trained in Singapore mathematics and Orton Gillingham methodologies, as well as through educational connections around the globe, Tati has developed a program where students, instructors, and parents can adjust to each other's cultures, ensuring an extremely effective learning experience. Tati was also a pro swimmer in Brazil and a swimming scholarship holder from the University of Tennessee with a degree in geography and business administration. Human resilience is the key lessons learned from this COVID-19 pandemic. We are all learning how to adapt and how to accept a new normal. We need to look with positive lens, which enable us to surpass the virus. We will move forward with our families and with our friends and with our businesses, said Tati. Now, I'm pleased to present to you Tatiana Mayor.
Today, we have the honor and pleasure of having Miss Tatiana Mayor all the way from Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Hi, Tatiana. A very good evening to you. Thank you for joining us at such a late hour at your time in Brazil.
Hi, Alisa. It's such a pleasure to be part of the SkyGem podcast program. I am very excited to be part of such a wonderful group of professionals in the education industry. Thank you so much for inviting me.
The honor and pleasure is all ours, Tatiana. And I can tell you, I couldn't sleep last night because I was waiting for this session to talk to you and see you in person. So thank you for that. Really appreciate it.
That makes the two of us.
Oh, thank you so much. Tatiana, in view of the SkyGem podcast listeners' benefit, I would actually like to hand over to you to introduce yourself to the listeners. Over to you, Tatiana.
Yes, my name is Tatiana Mayor. I'm originally from Brazil, Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. My company name is Urban Camp. It's a startup to teach English and math, logic, and a lot of life skills to kids here in Rio de Janeiro. I lived about 15 years in the United States. Now I'm back in Brazil working this beautiful program.
That's so wonderful to hear. A startup that is focusing on all these essential skills that our young generation and future generations need to be inspired and educated and nurtured into. So well done there, Tatiana. And I'm looking forward to understanding more and also collaborating with you in this area.
That will be wonderful. It's very excited to be connected all the way from Brazil with Singapore. Such a nice country. You guys have so much to bring and collaborate with the world, with knowledge and such great programs that you guys have developed. So it's really nice to know that we're going to be able to exchange informations, experiences throughout this journey.
Thank you, Tatiana. Looking forward to that. As you said, clearly it's a journey that we're all going through. And what more we can talk about in the recent times about the COVID-19 pandemic, where we are also suddenly hit with this pandemic from 2020 onwards. One of the key discussion points in this education industry is about COVID-19, how it impacts us and how it transformed the whole industry. But we'd like to understand a little bit from you. How do you feel about the current COVID-19 pandemic situation affecting you and your family and your organization so far?
So, Alicia, first I want to say that I am very, very sad. I was actually personally affected with the recent loss of my brother-in-law, one of my best friends and supporters. I shared this moment of grief. Thank you so much. It has been really hard. And I shared this moment of grief with thousands of families around the world that are losing their loved ones due to the COVID virus. Here in Brazil, we have been heavily impacted. The nation is the second most affected with almost 1 million confirmed cases and more than 44,000 deaths. And even after the virus is under control, I believe that the pandemic will leave traces of lifelong damages, such as depression and anxiety, which actually is already happening around us right now. And it's heartbreaking to see how kids are actually being so much affected by, new rules and to protect ourselves and our family from the virus.
It is really very sad to hear that. And Tatiana, once again, deep condolences and very sorry to hear that. Our heart goes out to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Tatiana, thank you for sharing that. Tatiana, what are the challenges that you faced while going through all those pandemic that is happening so rapidly in Brazil right now?
Mm-hmm. So on the personal side, I can relate with my client as we go through similar challenges. Not only my clients, but every single one of us are going through very similar challenges. And I am a mom of 3 young kids, and I'm going to tell the name of them. Maya,
Nice.
she's 6 years old. I have twin brothers, Nono and Bernardo, and they are 3 years old. And we live here in an apartment located in an urban area in the outskirts of Rio. So we are keeping ourselves inside. This process requires mental and physical adjustment. And we are trying to bring the best of us to keep our kids and ourselves healthy and happy throughout this process. The basic services and infrastructures here are not so reliable. The internet sometimes works, sometimes doesn't. So it's a little bit challenging. And even in the best areas of the country, we suffer with those basic services that are not well, developed yet. So what we have been trying to do is develop a routine that works for everyone in the house. But this requires a lot of effort and resilience from me and from my husband. Sometimes the kids are in a mood, and other days they're in another mood, and that's happening in every single house. Yeah. So in a personal side, those are the challenges that we are facing, and that's pretty much in every single household around the world. Now, in the company side, I'm going to talk about pretty much our team, how to deliver classes where kids are engaged and happy to be there. So it was not easy in the beginning to get out of a presential program to a 100% screen program and want the kids to actually be engaged. So we had materials, we had the personal touch and everything that, and we had to change all of that in a very short period. So that was a little bit challenging, to say a lot challenging for our instructors. And it's a process that really make us grow as professional and see the company in a different way. As far as for the kids, the education process of learning online. So what does that mean? Kids they were not educated to work online. So over here, we had to actually work, I had to work a lot one-on-ones with our kids to help them understand how to behave online. So it was a long process, and until long process, I would say 3-4 weeks until they understand that, we got this routine and this is how it's going to be. Then, things started to get better. But the first impact was very hard on them, and they had to learn how to behave in a different setting. And on the parents' standpoint, to get parents to understand that now they are part of this educational process. So that it was the hardest part. It has been a really, really hard part of the process. Because before, parents were just in the outside and not being as participative as they actually can be. Now at home, they are the ones that are beside the kids. They needed to see what's going on with their learning abilities and help them to follow the guidelines and absorb the information that is being passed to them through the computer. So it has been a very hard process for parents, because a lot of those parents, if not all, they are also doing home office, just like me and you. We are here at home, making sure our kids are getting the content from school, learning, and also working in our company. So it's truly a very difficult and challenging moment for all of us.
Well, indeed, the challenges are real, and it's still ongoing, isn't it? In my view, some of the challenges, we are still learning as we go. I would love to send my love and regards to Maya, Leonardo, and Bernardo, and they are so wonderful and amazing, I'm pretty sure, and I hope to meet them one day. So thank you for sharing your personal side of challenges. And like you, with 2 kids, for me in the household, it's also not easy to be managing everything under one roof in a short period of time. So those challenges are still ongoing with all the recent changes and developments. And I think change is constant, and challenges are always there for us to navigate through them and come out stronger. So I think that would be definitely a positive view of that. The challenges that you faced in the professional side, would you be able to share the changes that you make to adapt, and how do you overcome that? You shared some of those very amazing ways, tips that we could all learn from you. Is there anything else that we could be learning as well?
Yeah, the challenge that we have been facing is very similar. So every school is actually having to go from a presential program to a online program. Over here in Brazil right now, we are still doing 100% online, and we don't know when the schools are going to be open. We have been closed since March, and we are still 100% closed. So the major change, we had to adapt our curriculum in order to make sure that kids were still absorbing. And this adaptation was actually done like over a couple of weeks of period. And another change that we did, we introduced a lot of little videos online to prep the kids to what was coming, to the online classes. So we did lives, we did a bunch of different engaging activity with the kids and with the family, so they could start to integrate into the new reality. So there was a transition. We didn't just go like, okay, everything happened overnight, but we took a couple of weeks to prep them into getting to our Zoom classes. So we first used Facebook, and we used other like Instagram and lives, and we did like a few movie nights in Netflix where we could like do comments in the corner. So we've done a couple of different things in order to warm them up into the new reality. And it was still hard when they got into the Zoom live, mainly because the schools sitting here are like, okay, let's translate. Like if they spend 4 hours in school, they needed to spend 4 hours in front of the screen. And then they would do urban camp. With us, they used to be with us 9 hours a week. Now they are with us 4 hours a week. So we are actually making the content a lot smaller in order for them to have less time in front of the screen. We think that we can deliver in a faster pace, more dynamic way, the messages, the content that they need to absorb, and let them experiment at home. So with ideas, with creative games and things that they can do on their own at home and with their families.
Wow, that's a lot you did and are doing for everyone in the learners community as well as the teaching community to be able to come together and move forward in this online learning environment in a very, very short period of time. So really applaud you for that initiative and that tenacity to see through the whole program. So thank you, Tatiana, for sharing that. We all could learn from you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Tatiana. In terms of challenges that we all go through, still going through, of course, also the adaptation that you've made to be able to move forward. What are the key lessons that you have learned, and would you be able to share with us?
Yeah, so I would say there are 3 things that really made a difference in how we handled things and how we were able to continue to be connected with our customers and even gain a set of new customers. So number 1, responsiveness. So how I reacted and how fast I reacted to the pandemic.
Yeah.
So that first key as a business, it shows a lot to my clients over here in Brazil. So I was able to provide materials. I was able to provide a solution before anybody else was. So again, that's something that's extremely important, I would say, not only here in Brazil, but anywhere in the world. Yes. Especially in a time where everybody's looking for a solution. Yeah. You gotta be the solution. Yeah. So the second thing I would say, it's communication. This is a process new for everybody, and we are learning, right, together. And parents are also learning. And one thing that's bothering everybody is the fact that nobody knows what's going to happen. Nobody knows when it's going to open. Nobody knows what they need to do. So the more we communicate, the better we are aligned with each other. So my communication is very clear and sincere. So, hey, parents, what we know is that the pandemic's happening, and our option right now is to do online, and we are getting ready to open whenever the government allows us to open. And we will be able to provide you both services, online and in person. In case you prefer to leave your kid at home, we will be able to provide that service for you. In case you wanted your kid to get out of the house and be part of the program, we will cater that for you too. And the communication happens weekly, so they know what to expect, where everything else, they don't know what's going to happen. so they know what kind of content we're going to be working with them. They know why we are working in those contents and how we are moving forward with them. So the fact that we are the only thing they know is only a great point for them right now. And the last one is trust and accountability. And I say that because they know they can trust in our program. They have seen us transforming the program for them. They are the reason of the transformation, and they are the reason of our solution. So it's a combination factor over there. And again, because I was responsive, because I used like a fast response, because we have been communicating, they trust and they know that I am accountable. So it's one thing linked to the other, and that will bring loyalty and a closer relationship that we've never had before. We were a program that we had a very close relationship with parents. With this pandemic, it became even more personable relationship where we are in constant communication, and I'm constantly checking on them and they are constantly checking on me. This creates a sense of community that's very strong and we won't be taken away.
What you just shared is so valuable. Thanks for sharing your lessons learned. And I like that responsiveness, communications, and build trust, right? Trust and tighter community relationship across your parents' community or the learners' community or even partnership community, and of course the loved ones. So I think this pandemic has really taught us a lot of good lessons that we can carry on in our daily lives moving forward.
I totally agree.
Thank you for sharing that wonderful lessons, Tatiana.
Yeah.
Now moving to where we are in the education industry, COVID-19, as you shared, has actually pushed us into a accelerated mode of transformation. What are your views of the changes that will take place in the education industry post-COVID-19?
Okay, so we are already going through the transformation right now. And there are a couple of things that, first technical, right? It accelerates, like you said, the efforts to improve how online classes are delivered and received. So before we were still like afraid of dealing with the entire online services, right? Now we have a different relationship and we feel a lot comfortable with that. So the other thing is like how institutions are being leveled up, so right now we are all going through the same thing, and it leveled the field for young institutions like Urban Camp, because we are going through this learning process together and we are reacting together, we are being creative together, so we are creating solutions at the same time. And so we are going to be viewed the same way as a company who has been established for a long time, because we are working in the same pandemic with the same problems towards a solution to this problem. So again, for the institutions, I think it really leveled up the field for young institutions like Urban Camp. A good example is actually the Zoom platform, which we're using right now. They were a platform that we didn't know very much. And then came the pandemic and everybody knows about them. And they're being widely used. We knew Skype, we knew other platforms. We didn't know Zoom. And again, for teachers and students, it's a great opportunity to work from people from all over the world. And for a student to actually be engaged with other students and teachers, other backgrounds and cultures from all over the world. So now we don't have any reasons to be afraid of explore the learning system from all over other continents. So it's truly an amazing opportunity of trial for all of us.
Definitely. I think that is so well summarized in a concise manner what your thoughts are. Thank you for sharing that, Tatiana. I'm sure in 6 months, 9 months, or even a year or even longer period, when we come back to this discussion, we see how we're tracking and whether the progress that we made is getting there. So will be lovely to catch up again in due time. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
Tatiana, is there a new normal for yourself? Would you be able to share with us?
Absolutely. So again, we were a 100% presential-based program. Now we are migrating to be either a flex program or a online program. So again, my business plan initially was to cater to local kids, to kids that are only in Niterói, Rio de Janeiro. Now the program is catering to kids all over the country. We have kids from other states joining our program right now and have the opportunity to work with teachers there in the US, teaching them and working in a very dynamic and fun environment. So it's a different way of connecting kids, cultures, backgrounds, and our new normal will actually count with kids from all over the country and maybe the world, and with professionals located anywhere they want to be. So I think that's, again, like I said before, an opportunity to unite cultures, to unite thinkers, and the opportunity of understanding and explore different minds and way of learning.
That's really a good way to sum up your new normal there and sharing with us. Thank you, Tatiana. We are now coming to a very important part of our SkyGem podcast. This is the time where we like to ask you to share your messages for the future generations.
Yeah, so one of the things that is extremely important, it's human resilience. Mm-hmm. So that's key from this pandemic. We are learning how to adapt and how to accept a new normal. And we need to look with the positive lens that we will be able to surpass the virus, and we will move forward with our families and with our friends and with our businesses. So for the new generation, I would say that resilience is really key. Grit and persevere in your dreams, and again, make sure that we don't give up when hard times cross us. And let's count on each other, because right now is the time where we really can get closer to each other, and make sure that we check with your neighbors, with your friends, and see how they are doing. The sense of community is, again, what's going to unite us at this point. And make sure that you are well connected with your community and helping them go through this process in the best way possible. So that's my message for the future generation.
Thank you, Tatiana. I love it. You talk about human resilience. You talk about learning to accept and adapt and never give up. And I think what is really closer to my heart will be counting on each other and a sense of community to unite all of us to go through this pandemic and come out stronger as a community. Thank you so much for sharing that, Tatiana. That's beautiful. Thank you so much.
It was an amazing pleasure, and I'm very, very happy to be part of this series and to share what's happening all the way across in Brazil, and have this sense of, again, bringing our communities together, get to know more about Singapore, and the world gets to know a little bit more about Brazil. So in the end, we are all one, and I'm very excited that we are now connected.
Thank you, Tatiana. Thank you so much once again from SkyGems podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, we just had Miss Tatiana Mayor all the way from Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, talking to us and sharing with us her wonderful experiences and the journey so far. Thank you, Tatiana. I look forward to seeing you in person one day.
Yes. Have a good one. Good night, everybody.
Take good care, my dear. Bye for now.
We hope you enjoyed today's episode at SkyGems Academy Podcast Series 1 on the topic of how COVID-19 transformed the education industry. If you enjoyed today's episode and you love the vision and mission of SkyGems Academy, can you please help us to convince others to tune in to SkyGems Academy Podcast too? Please kindly subscribe to SkyGems Academy Podcast. Please also kindly leave a quick review and rate SkyGems Academy Podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Anchor.fm, Breaker, and various SkyGems Academy's podcast channels. That would mean the world to us, so thank you so much for your support. Visit our website at www.skygemsacademy.com to find out more about our distinguished speakers and about SkyGems Academy. We appreciate you and your continuous support. Thank you for tuning in to SkyGems Academy Podcast. High five and peace out!